Okay, my name is Thomas Watt. I'm known as Tinker. Excuse me. I'm known as Tinker. It's a nickname. I'm from Omak, Washington, Caldwell Indian Reservation. Well, I'll take you back 30 odd years ago. I was trained in Indian alcoholism as a counselor down in University of Utah for my own reservation. And at the time I came into the 12-step program, and at the time I was married to this girl, and her brother lived over here in Enderby. And he called me one day and wanted to know if I could come up here to this country and start this 12-step program. And I told him, sure, I could do that. But when I got up here to Enderby, the Spell Machine Band, they wanted to pay me. And I said, no, you can't pay me money to do this 12-step program. It's a volunteer program. But I said, what you could do is hire me as a consultant. So they worked on that for a while, and they found some money and hired me as a consultant. And so one of the first things I had George Thomas and Wayne Christensen do was I requested a map from Cranbrook, BC, up towards 100 Mile House and then back down towards the coast. And then I said, I want the address of all these native bands that live within this circle that I have. So they got me a list, and so I came up with a letter, and I sent this letter out to every band within this tremendous circle here in southern British Columbia. And actually it was a letter, I invited all these letters I sent out, I invited everybody to come up to the Western British Columbia Indian Alcoholism Workers Association. Well, there was just me, there was no such thing, but I was trying to develop that. So I sent the letter out, and probably about a week to 2 weeks, somewhere in there, I called for a meeting, and 3 guys from this area showed up. Emery Lewis, J.D. Billy, and Les Williams. They're the only 3 people that responded to my letter. So they showed up at the Spell Machine Band Hall there in Enderby, and back in them days we didn't have much technology, but I had a flipboard, and on that flipboard I wrote on there, the Western British Columbia Indian Alcoholism Workers Association, blank blank, with the premise of developing a treatment center. Well, that, back then, a treatment center, people really didn't know what that was. So I explained my dream, if you will, of a treatment center here in this area with halfway houses in the surrounding village and reserves in this greater circle. And so we worked on that. We went to a meeting in Merritt, and then we called for another meeting. We went over to Kamloops, and there's another place we went, but I can't remember it right now. But so what we were doing was we were trying to gather more people to come into this group with it premise of developing a treatment center. Well, as it turned out, I needed to go back down to Washington. So I went back down to Washington, and I came back up about a week later, and they stopped me at the border, and they asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I'm going up to the Spell Machine Band, work for them. The people said, well, what, you got to have a guitar or drums? What do you do? And I said, no, it's a native band. Well, I got back up here, and come to find out, I needed a work visa, and I didn't have a work visa. So they escorted me out of BC. I had to leave this country in 24 hours. So I went back to the States. Well, that was kind of the end of my role. So I came up, shared a dream about a treatment center and how to go about it with, like I said, J.D. Billy and Les Williams and Henry Lewis. And I told him it's so simple. I actually showed him on the flipboard to write up a letter and mail this letter off to Ottawa, your government's capital, and ask for help, ask for funding for it. Well, nobody even knew we don't have a treatment center. I said, yeah, well, that's all right. You send up the letter, mail it off to them, and then the government's going to try to fill in the blanks and see what's going on out here. Anyway, so all that happened after I left. But the beauty behind it is all this knowledge I left with those three guys, and they just eventually went out through all the surrounding villages and reserves and kept the momentum going. So from the day I wrote that letter to the day they opened up this Round Lake Treatment Center was 18 months. And so that's kind of how it happened. I was just a guy that came up with a dream and shared it with the people. And the dream of the treatment center I went over and over with them was try to develop a treatment center from all the surrounding bands and villages on your executive boards and all of that, so it'll feel like it's more of a British Columbia thing rather than belonging to one tribe or one band. And basically that's what they did, and I thought that was pretty cool. It's something, part of the dream was that I knew that it was a time where our native people, we needed this. I was trying to do this back in Washington, and needless to say, politics got in the way. And different leaders at different levels in the tribal governments and the state governments and all that, they really had a lot of turmoil about that. And at the time, everybody was kind of trying to stroke their own egos, trying to get something going down there. Where in my dream, I seen it coming from the heart, coming from the spirit of people. So that's why I came up here. So basically, in the beginning, a lot of the native people up here didn't know really what a definition of what, I use the word Indian alcoholism is. They didn't know that concept. A lot of the people in the area here back in the early days only knew a concept of a 12-step program. And so that was kind of the smaller foundation that they built off of, and it was working. But in the bigger concept of what I was explaining was that if we attach the 12-step program to treatment along with culture and traditions, then it helps the journey of healing from addictions, and that's for the beauty I see. It took them a few years to develop that, that kind of a concept to bring counseling, if you will, 12-step program, and then bringing in culture and traditions to balance that, and where people are working with their addiction problems. And but in saying all that, that's the beauty behind this place, how it grew that much. And you know, there's like 9,000 people went through here, and I know most of them found that this treatment center was actually a place of discovery. And then going back to their communities with that knowledge from this treatment center, they found, a lot of them found that going back to cultures and traditions, like the sweat lodges and ceremonies and powwows, going back to culture and traditions was their place of recovery. So that was two different kind of concepts. Treatment center is really a place of self-discovery, finding yourself. But the true healing, the true road to recovery is going back into your cultures and your traditions, along with a balance of 12-step programs and all that kind of stuff. And they're doing a beautiful job. They're way ahead of my own people down in the States, way ahead. And so let's go ahead and pause there, if you can.
That's powerful.
You know, this is the 30th year, and this whole Round Lake Treatment Center has just, you know, it was a gift. I think it was a gift from the Great Spirit. You know, I was just a messenger. And I came up here on the 20th anniversary, and basically I went through the same kind of expression of gratitude here like I experienced today. But I came up today with a little ambivalence, because it's hard for me to come up here crossing the border, and I had issues with that, so I had to sneak in. But I wanted to be here. I mean, it was that drive that I needed to be here today. And this day started out 5:30 this morning. I was in a salmon ceremony back home. That's how my day started. All knowing I wanted to be up here. And I wanted to be up here by 2 o'clock because I wanted to be here when it started. As it turned out, I got here just in time. They were getting ready to start their meeting, their gathering. And, you know, I got to see a lot of old friends, co-workers here, and that's always cheerful. That's always cheerful to see people that I can go back 30 years ago with and see that they're still carrying the message of wellness. And I've seen a few of them today, and it really lifted up my spirits. And then throughout the morning or the afternoon when they were doing expressions of gratitude, you know, that's the beauty behind the people that were going through that today, how they express their gratitude for past counselors, different ones that passed on to the other side, the other world. That brought back memories, and it was really touching to see that still kind of that spirit alive like that. And then the rest of the ceremonies acknowledging the chief leaders here and the counselors and the elders is a beautiful thing. And then have all the different speakers get up and praise what happened here, and how how the clients come here, and those that got the message, they go back to their villages and they go back to their reserves, and they're kind of an inspiration for other people when they get home. And then the message continues, and then you see them come back with different ones here. And so that was a beautiful thing to see. And then, you know, I'm a pretty emotional guy. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and sometimes I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but sometimes it's really hard for me to receive honorings, to receive gratitude from people like that, like I experienced today. Because you know, sometimes I feel like I just did my little part in this. The people did this part. And so, you know, coming back and then seeing that, sometimes it was kind of touchy for me like that. But then when I opened my heart to receive gratitude and to receive that kind of honoring that the different ones spoke about me when they came up, it touched my heart. It touched my heart. And then being only one of two combat Vietnam veterans here, and my friend Richard to sing that song, and then to stand up front and then have the people extend their blessings to me. There's a lot of gratitude. Kind of like, wow, man, they're really thanking me. They're really blessing me. And I could feel that. I could feel that energy coming from their spirit. And it really touched me. And so to receive it today was a tremendous spiritual boost to know that there's still that kind of love in our people, I guess. Well, you know, this area, I need to kind of go back, preceding the dream I had of bringing a treatment center up to this country of British Columbia. In saying that, for many, many years, people of wildlife knowledge have been trying to figure out how the salmon returns home to the exact place he was born. And they're still trying to figure that out. And one day, I'm in my sweat lodge 3 nights a week. But many, many years ago, I was listening to my grandfather and my old uncle, and then I was in my sweat lodge. And it all came to me one day. And imagine the salmon people out in the ocean. How do they know to come back up here? One time they'd come clear up to the head of the lake of the Okanagan right here in Vernon. The salmon people would come that far. They'd follow the Columbia River up to the junctions down there in Brewster in Washington, and then they'd come up the Okanagan right up to here. But how did they know how to do that? And in my self-knowledge and listening to my elders and in the sweat lodge, I imagined that salmon chief out there in the ocean, how did he know to bring the salmon people back up here? He jumped up into the sky, out of the water. He jumped up. He looked north from the ocean. He looked north, and he saw the Big Dipper. And the Big Dipper was tipped with a handle up in the bucket here. and out of that bucket was this spiritual water flowing down. If you go out in the ocean and look up this way now, you'll see that that dipper is tipped between the Okanagan River and the Columbia River. That bucket is dipped between them, and that spiritual water is flowing. That's what the salmon people seen when they jumped up. And then that's how they knew to come back up to the head of the lake right down here in Vernon. So in a sense, when I had this dream about the treatment center, those are some of the kind of inner things I thought about. And when I looked one night up here, I seen that spiritual water dripping out of that bucket. So I knew kind of in this geographic area that around here in Vernon, this is going to be the location. Even before I came up here and met the Spell Machine Band, and I met Emery and JD and Les, I knew I was going to be in this country. And then because of the spiritual water coming out of that Big Dipper, and those three people were involved in finding this location because they lived in this country. And then when I came here, I could almost see the spiritual waters flowing through the trees, through the sacred mountains up here. And I looked down at the round lake down there, and I could see the sparkles of that spiritual water dancing on that lake. So I knew this was the place after they had found it, Emery and Les and them. So it was kind of like myself, it's kind of like I was the salmon just coming home to this sacred place. Some of the people that I remember here that are not here no more, you know, and I kind of felt that a little bit when I got here today. I looked around for those spaces, but I knew they weren't here. And I, reflecting, like with the question you asked me, you know, those that put their heart and their spirit in here and worked here and have passed on. You know, where I come from, they're all around us. They're all around us. They're in the sparkles of that lake. They're in that wind and them trees. So I think they experienced the same thing I did today. The beauty of the people here. Knowing that the message of offering wellness to our native people is still being carried on. And I think that's for those that passed on that came here from different reserves. I think that's what they're seeing, and I think they're probably just saying, yeah, right on, you know, coming from heaven, you know, and in my own way, I still believe that from how I believe back home, that they're the ones that are still sending blessings down to the helpers here, the staff, and all of those that are involved in the treatment center. I believe there are angels in heaven still extending those blessings down here to the workers in this treatment center, and I think that's the inter-motivation to continue for a lot of the staff that are here now and the different ones that are working different areas. I think that they feel that blessing coming. I think that's the extra ingredients that keep the ones that are here now, keeping them continue to bring this wellness to our native peoples here. So, you know, I don't think they're gone. You know, I can see the smiles coming. I've met 3 generations of people here today from one of my old friends. I met their great-grandchild, a little baby. So the message is still here, that coming from those that passed away that I knew back then. And so it's still within the people, and I think they still see that. And I think that's the beauty behind those that find the message to become alcohol counselors and workers in this field of treatment for our Native people. I think that's the extra ingredient they find. Today, this afternoon, I come up here and I'm kind of refinding myself with you people today. I'm kind of finding that reconnection of something I left here 30 years ago. I'm refinding that within how you express your gratitude here. And I'd like to continue to let you know that what you're doing and what you people have been doing and will continue to do has been a gift that you have, a gift from the Creator. And I learned that many years ago, that sobriety in what you're trying to give to our Native peoples, you're giving them that gift of sobriety. You're giving them that gift of wellness. And I think that's the journey that not only you as Round Lake workers and clients, I think that's the message we're all trying to receive, is that gift from the Creator, the gift of ourselves, and knowing to let you each know that you are the greatest miracles in the world. And I'd like to let you know that you need to continue carrying this gift with you to other people. 9,000 people went out of here. That's 9,000 miracles. So it should be coming back. Those miracles are going out there. Those 9,000 miracles went out there. And they're creating more miracles out there. Hopefully to come here and experience the gifts you have of serenity as counselors and therapists, the gift of love that you provide, the gifts of gratitude. Man, the power you have to help not only yourselves, but to help other people that are in dire need of help, and show them a few tools to do that. So, as an old friend, I say, man, right on. Gather more gifts for yourself. Because we can't forget that we're all on this journey together. Some of you say the red road. I say all of us, staff members and clients, we're all on this road to salvation. That's what we're seeking. And you have it right here. This is the road to salvation. So how you continue to give that to the clients, and you clients, how you continue to receive that, that's your gift. And I hope each and every one of you will continue to experience that here. I hope that each and every one of you will go out and continue to share that. Because that's how I got here. Somebody shared their gift with me. The gift of gratitude. The gift of humility. The gift of serenity. The ingredients that make us Native people. And refining ourselves. We find here at Round Lake. You need to be applauded many times over. And if you're not receiving that much gratitude from around here, I'll let you know that the Creator has been clapping his hands for you with tremendous amount of gratitude to see that you're doing these kinds of work down here. One of the things I wanted to finish in my conclusion is that coming up here, knowing this was the 30th anniversary, I just turned 62, and I'm not in too good a health. Diabetes is getting me. One of the things we're all fighting as Native people, along with alcoholism and addictions. Knowing that this is the 30th year, and that was really my drive to get here, because I'm going to come back in 5 more years. I'll be 67, and I don't know how much I can get around. So, in conclusion, I just really wanted to say that's why I wanted to be here today, because I'm not promises. I don't have no promises for tomorrow. But I have that promise for today. And so that's why I wanted to be here today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but today I just wanted to come up, grab that gratitude, and I wanted to grab that serenity and grab your expression of your joy here from all of you, workers, clients. I wanted to grab that because I don't know if I got it. I don't know if I'm given another day. None of us do, but 5 years from now, I don't know if I'll make it, but that's why I wanted to be here today. I wanted to rekindle that gratitude. So that's the last thing I'd like to say, and go in peace, go in harmony, go in love, go on the road to salvation. Thank you.